BTS News. That night, Amsterdam became the witness of one of the most spectacular concerts BTS had ever held during their 2025 tour. The Grand Arena, packed with thousands of ARMY, trembled with cheers, spotlights, and the pounding rhythm of music that hit straight into the heart with burning energy. For many, it was a perfect night, a music festival that tied the audience's emotions with the unstoppable energy of the seven men standing together once again on stage. But behind the glittering lights, fireworks, and flawless smiles, there was one moment that didn't escape the eyes of the observant. Jungkook didn't seem to be fully immersed in the euphoria. His gaze repeatedly shifted to the other side of the stage, right toward Jin, as if something was weighing on his mind. From the start of the concert, the cheers for Jin were noticeably louder than usual. It was understandable. He had just returned to greet ARMY after a long period of military service. His long-missed face reappeared, carrying the warmth he always brought. Jin tried to appear perfect, smiling, joking with fans, and dancing along to the energetic songs performed that night. But several times, fleeting, very brief, different expressions appeared on his face. The smile remained, but behind the glimmer of his eyes, there seemed to be an unusual exhaustion. That was exactly what Jungkook noticed sharply, watching his Hyung's movements from the very beginning. Jungkook has always been known as the magne who is protective of his Hyungs, especially Jin, whom he sees not only as a bandmate, but often as a real older brother. That night, after the third song ended, cameras captured Jungkook's face full of energy, but just seconds later, another lens caught him glancing at Jin with questioning eyes. As if, behind the ocean of ARMY cheers, Jungkook was silently asking, "Hyung, are you really okay?" For casual viewers, that moment may have passed unnoticed, buried under lights and screams. But for those who know BTS well, especially ARMY, sensitive to small details, Jungkook's gestures that night felt very different. On social media, just minutes after the concert began, hashtags #ProtectJin and #Jungkook Worried for Jin quickly started trending. ARMYs shared short clips from the live broadcast, clearly showing how Jungkook kept watching Jin's condition. Backstage, before the concert even started, the atmosphere had indeed been slightly tense. A staff member leaked that Jin had experienced minor health issues due to fatigue. The packed practice schedule, climate differences, and immense pressure to perform perfectly after such a long absence had forced his body to work harder that night. Although the medical team confirmed that Jin could still perform, the concern didn't completely fade. Especially not for Jungkook, who has always paid special attention to his Hyung's conditions. During the fourth song, the crowd's cheers reached their peak. But amidst the dance moves, Jin was seen catching his breath more heavily than usual. From across the stage, Jungkook unconsciously stopped in his tracks for a moment, just to ensure Jin was still holding strong. This moment was clearly captured in several fan cams that later went viral. In the videos, Jungkook seemed as though he wanted to approach, but he chose to stay in position so the performance wouldn't be disrupted. Only his eyes spoke volumes, full of concern, as if he was fighting the urge to run and make sure Jin was truly okay. The critical moment came when the concert entered its middle part. After performing an emotional ballad, Jin took the opportunity to speak briefly to ARMY. His voice trembled, not only from emotion but also from slightly labored breathing. He tried to express how much he missed the moment, how grateful he was for ARMY's patience and loyalty. Everyone cheered, but at the corner of the stage, Jungkook tightly gripped his mic, his eyes glued to Jin's every move. There was even a second when Jungkook looked like he wanted to step forward to support Jin as his body swayed slightly. But Jin, with a smile that never faded, managed to cover his exhaustion and continue his speech. For Jungkook, that moment left a feeling difficult to explain. In the midst of love and energy, there was worry stabbing at his heart. As the magne, he was used to seeing his Hyungs fight hard on stage, but that night felt different. Jin wasn't just performing. He was fighting himself, fighting against a body that hadn't fully recovered from the heavy routine. Jungkook knew this, and that was why his eyes shone with both pride and worry. The concert continued in full splendor. Song after song, dance after dance, delivered with perfect choreography. But fan cameras didn't stop capturing the small interactions between Jungkook and Jin. Several times, Jungkook sent small signals, like a nod or a soft smile, seeming to say, "I'm here, Hyung." And Jin, though visibly weary, responded with brief smiles that might have seemed meaningless to many, but to ARMY who were attentive, those were silent messages full of warmth. After the concert ended, speculation ran wild. What was really happening with Jin? Was he okay? Why did Jungkook seem so worried all night? These questions flooded timelines, adding mystery behind the spectacular performance. HYBE hadn't issued any official statement, only posting words of thanks to ARMY on social media. But it was precisely that silence that fueled fans' curiosity even more. For many ARMYs, that night wasn't just about music or flawless choreography. More than that, the concert became proof of the deep bond between BTS members. Jungkook, with his protective instincts, showed that for them, the stage was not just a place to shine, but also a place to look out for one another, to support each other, and to ensure no one was left behind. At the end of the show, when all members lined up to bow, Jungkook instinctively placed his hand on Jin's shoulder, giving it a soft pat and whispering something the cameras couldn't catch. Jin turned, smiled, and nodded. A fleeting moment, but enough to calm the hearts of millions watching. That night, though filled with lights and cheers, was also filled with warmth born only from a bond more than a decade old. And that's what made this concert remembered not only as a spectacular show, but also as the night when the love of a younger brother for his elder shone so clearly before the world. When the lights slowly dimmed and the last fireworks burst over Amsterdam, the arena that had been deafening with cheers fell into silence. Yet the quiet didn't erase the waves of emotion still overflowing in the hearts of the audience. Many left while still crying, some staring at their phones to rewatch clips of the concert already circulating online within minutes after the show ended. That night, the world didn't just witness BTS's triumphant return, it also witnessed their most human side, especially the emotional interaction between Jungkook and Jin. Backstage, the mood was completely different from the spectacle that had just concluded. The members sat on a long couch, some changing outfits, others resting with sweat still dripping from their faces. Jin sat at the edge of the couch, a white towel draped around his neck. He let out a deep breath, trying to calm his body that was still tense after 2 hours of singing, dancing, and engaging with tens of thousands of fans. Jungkook, who had been visibly worried all night, immediately approached as soon as he saw Jin bowing slightly. "Hyung, are you okay?" Jungkook asked softly, almost in a whisper, aware that staff and other members were also watching. Jin gave a small smile, the kind that aimed to reassure. "I'm fine, Jungkook. Just a bit tired, but I'm okay." But for Jungkook, that answer wasn't enough. He knew how Jin often hid his pain so others wouldn't worry. He'd seen Jin endure before, smiling broadly in front of cameras while secretly uncomfortable. That was why Jungkook stared longer, as if reading the honesty in his Hyung's eyes.